Gartner SRM. How you doing? Awesome. Very, very cool. Hi, folks. Sorry, we'll get started in a second. We just always have to, yeah, he's your boss. Awesome. You guys have such a cool company and can't wait to see you at Black Hat. Jasmine's also going to be at Black Hat, right, Jasmine?
I will. Pretty excited.
Awesome. Get my live stream. Oh, I think it's just working. I think we're just live streaming. Oh yeah, we are. Hi everyone. Okay, I don't have to do anything else. Listening. Hi Harmon. Awesome. Oh, we have a security person on. This is awesome. Hi folks. We are asking folks to put uh, give us a little post in the chat. Say where you're from or who you're with or what company. We have some security folks. We have some brands. We have like Spectre Ops in here. I see some more people. I see Elena. Hi Elena. Jeanette. Catherine, my friend Mohan. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. We got a crew. Tobias, CMO. Hi. Hi, folks. Cool. All right, Jazz, are you ready to get started?
I'm so ready.
Hi. Okay, I have a deck to start us off with. So, all right, folks, I'm going to screen share super quickly. All of y'all know who've been on this before that it's not like a presentation heavy webinar, so do not worry. But I'm going to do a quick screen share to set up our amazing guest, Jazz, and also tell you guys a little bit about why are we doing this and what the Cybersecurity Marketing Society is. Can you guys all see my screen? I feel like you can. Awesome. Okay, folks, welcome to our amazing Behind the Cyber Creator series and Ask Me Anything series with the most interesting, new, fresh, and popular cybersecurity creators in the space. My name is Gianna Whitfer, and I am CEO and co-founder of the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. The Cybersecurity Marketing Society, many of you are members, is a community and organization for marketers in the cybersecurity industry. But if you're not a marketer, you're still welcome on this webinar to learn about growing your voice, your brand, and maybe even getting some tips from Jazz about how to be a creator yourself. So at the Society, we do events, we do education, we do community, we do industry resources like this. So we'll bring on folks from the industry to talk to marketers and the go-to-market side of cyber. And of course, we have Cyber Marketing Con, our amazing, amazing conference that'll be November 15th through 18th in Austin, Texas this year. So come on out. There's also a virtual ticket. We live stream it. So there's that. And join 700 of your fellow marketers in the cybersecurity industry at Cyber Marketing Con. We have a really great time also. It's a lot of networking and a lot of hands-on workshops as well. So you always leave with something you can put to work right away. I also want to thank Mishka. Mishka is an agency that represents brands in creator when working with creators. So they represent brands and they help brands match to the best creators that fit the needs of any sort of specific campaign. My friend Yulia runs this agency and they're really great. They have also helped us with our conference and they're just a joy to work with. And I love Yulia. She's so fast, which sometimes you don't get in an agency. It's wonderful. This is their website because their name is a little hard to spell. So I always like to show their website in case you're like, am I the right Mishka? I don't know. It's this one, Mischka. Awesome. Housekeeping, super fast. Uh, we love to take questions on these AMAs. Everyone who's ever been to a Cybersecurity Marketing Society webinar knows that we love interactivity, questions like shoot us your questions, your comments, like love the chat. We want to hear from you. This is your webinar, really. It's not even my webinar, it's yours. So we want to take this in the direction that is most helpful to you. Of course, I have like literally 1,000 questions for Jazz. So if you don't have any, I'll fill it in, but we really want to hear from you. Is this recorded? Yes. And in fact, you might be listening to this on a podcast right now. We are going to record this. It'll be available for replay. It'll be up on our website, and we're also going to replay it as a episode on the Breaking Through in Cybersecurity Marketing podcast, which is on the Cyberwire Network. And there's also a giveaway involved. So if you have, for anyone who has the best question, which will be determined by Yulia, you'll be getting a sweatshirt in the mail. We do a little prize giveaway on these webinars as well. So make sure to get those questions in. This is not Jazz, this is Yasmin. Yasmin will be our next Cyber Creator series. So I wanted to give you guys a showcase. This is a series We have a lot of creators that we've already spoken to, like Chip Hallett and all sorts of amazing creators. There's more coming. So make sure to sign up for the whole series if you want to learn about all these different creators and what they do in the cybersecurity industry. Also, we have an upcoming webinar that I think you guys would find really interesting with Sandra Liu. She's a super big creator in cybersecurity. We're doing this with LinkedIn, and this will be in August. So we hope to see you at this one as well. All right, so now we are on to Jazz, and I'm going to stop talking very soon, so soon, don't worry. But we're so excited to have Jasmine Wong or Jazz Wong, aka Jazz Cyberbytes, right? Did I get it right, Jazz?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. I can memorize things. Yes, see, proven correct. She's an awesome creator in the cybersecurity industry with over 80,000 followers on Instagram, as well as a presence on LinkedIn. And to set the stage here, I wanted to show you guys one of her super awesome and creative videos because we've had a lot of creators on, and I think that Jazz has a very specific style that I kind of want to show to y'all. And it's also about honeypots. And Jazz, you don't know this about me, but I love bees. So when you had a bee in this video, like you're like, it's honeypot, it's not about bees. Like I absolutely was loving it. I was like, this is amazing. So let me just screen share real fast to show this video off, and you guys can get sort of a taste of what Jazz's work looks like. Here's Instagram. And we'll just play one video and then we'll jump into it.
A honeypot in cybersecurity has nothing to do with bees, but it is a trap you want attackers to break into, which sounds backwards because most security tools are built to keep attackers out. Security teams set up something that looks like a real server, database, or open port. To an attacker, it'll look like they found something exposed, but underneath all of that, the entire environment was purposely built to track their every move, including commands they run, files they touch, and tools they use. The real value here is studying the attackers. These honeypots are actually isolated from real networks, so attackers aren't getting into real production systems. So while they think they're breaking in, security teams are learning how they operate. This is what makes honeypots so powerful in cybersecurity. They not only show you're an active target, but what attackers would do once they're inside. Now share this with someone who can use honeypots in their own system.
Okay, that was such a cool video.
I feel a
We're
little
gonna...
embarrassed.
Why are you embarrassed?
I think it's always funny rewatching your own videos, you know?
Yeah, how many times have you watched that video in particular?
I mean, like when I'm looking at edits and everything, I think it's like quite a few times. And then after I post, I would say like I watch it to make sure that it's fine, and then I probably like don't watch it
You like
again.
hide it away. You're like, okay, that's it. I would be like so proud if I were you. Like, this is the level of production quality I think a lot of us as marketers aspire to. And I gotta say, I'm like super proud because you had like marketecture, you had like diagrams, you had like, hey, here's how a honeypot works with like dotted lines in it. Like, that was really good.
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of my learning style. I've always been more of a visual learner. And I think especially when you talk about cyber concepts, I pretty much won't, everything will go over my head if you're just really talking technical terms to me. And I've always been like, okay, I need to look at the documentation and actually see if someone has some sort of like data flow diagram, right? Or architecture diagram of how something works. Yeah, so I pretty much just try to adopt that in my own videos as well.
Oh, awesome. Well, let's start there then. So, Jazz, how did you even get into creating videos, right? You have a technical background. You were at a healthcare company as a security engineer. Tell us about like your backstory.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I've been in cyber for about 6 years now. Prior to that, I was a general software engineer, and I transitioned then into identity and access management, and then most recently, application security or product security. And I think it was at the tail end of last year. So I only started creating content in September, where I started noticing a lot of folks were talking about AI and not talking about how to use AI safely, like a
Mm.
huge gap, right, between AI and security. And I just felt like these are things that I would want to share with my friends to keep them safe. So I was like, okay, let me just try to create a video about my cyber journey, um, and see if anyone clicks with that. And then I started creating more like technical explainers, kind of security vulnerability things. Like as a ProdSec engineer, that's just kind of what my interest is. Um, and then just slowly transitioned into like other topics in cyber as well.
That's awesome. So you had this existing interest and you thought this is very similar to some of these other creators we've spoken to. It's like you saw, hey, like there's actually a need for security education, like either with my parents or in my friend group. Like we're all using this new frontier AI technology, and it's a little bit of a wild, wild west. So were you creating videos before this as well, or did you just like, was this your like launch point?
So I didn't create videos formally online, like with my face on there, but I think my creation journey started kind of on Instagram. You guys know you can do like close friends, or on Snapchat back then, you can do close friends videos. So I would just post vlogs of like what I was buying and shopping. So I think I got very comfortable with the camera that way. And I've always liked taking photos and everything. So I think the transition into creating videos online was a little more natural, but I always like sometimes I go back to the first video I ever posted and I cringe so hard. I was like, "Oh my god, like why was I talking like that?" And it kind of just gets easier over time, but I think it was kind of just like did it, put it out there and let it be.
I should have played that one.
I
I should have found that video.
would have like hidden.
I've been like, Jazz, where'd she go? We have questions already in the chat. So, folks, like I said before, questions, like drop them in the chat, put them in the Q&A. I'll make sure to actually look at the Q&A this time. I know on the last one I kind of like forgot. But Q&A, I have the box open here. So there's a couple of questions already about like how do you create your videos, or tell us a little bit about your methodology. Um, Mohan wants to know, are you following a particular structure when you're writing a script for your videos?
Yes and no. I have many different types of videos. Like some of them are more technical explainers on cyber, and then some are more like how I got into cyber and my experiences. And then obviously I also have like brand scripts when I partner with brands. And I think all of them have a very different structure. When I'm explaining technical concepts, it's because in my previous role, I had to do a lot of translating to engineers who don't necessarily understand these technical terms. I think that's kind of what helped me shape like, hey, what are some lingo that people would be interested in or know from the start, right? Like if I
Mhm.
had just started off that honeypot video with like, hey, like there are attackers in our systems, right? And the way that you can fight it is this way. It's very boring, right? So kind of something that is usually okay, a term they might know, and then a twist. I think that's kind of how I try to frame a lot of these, or something really relatable to the audience. Like there are specific trends that are out there these days that you try to follow. Like list 5 things that I would not do as a cybersecurity engineer, right? And you kind of like just go straight into it. A lot of the times, more so than thinking about myself, I just really have to think about what would appeal most to my audience.
Do you have different types of audiences? So, like, do you have to think about, different types of videos for different types of audiences?
Yeah, so I would say on Instagram, my audience is more builders and developers, actually, right? So those who are using and vibe coding with AI tools without a heavy security background, and also a lot of folks trying to get into cybersecurity. On LinkedIn, I would say my audience is definitely more cybersecurity professionals, right? So I post a lot more technical content on my LinkedIn. Like I
Mhm.
just posted one today on like how pen testing works, right? Like so that's probably not something my audience on Instagram would really relate to unless they were in the industry already. On YouTube, I also do a YouTube. I would say it's 50-50. Like I talk about a lot of technical stuff, but also a lot of non-cyber, more AI general topics. Um, yeah, I think that's about it.
That's awesome. Tom wants to know, what tools do you use to create your videos? So how are you like, maybe like, when you were creating them back in the day up to now, like what sort of tools did you start with? What are you using today?
So my main editing tools are CapCut and Edits. It depends on how fast or quick I want my videos to be. I used to just religiously use CapCut actually, and I was on my phone. And then I transitioned to CapCut on the desktop, and now it's like very hard for me to edit on my phone. I'm just not used to like, you know, clicking like overlays and everything. I would say edits is super helpful if I need a teleprompter. Like sometimes I do have a teleprompter to help me make sure I'm like explaining concepts the right way. And the quality on edits I found is also really good, or when I just need like a quick video sent out. I will also put a disclaimer out there that half of my videos I also have a team editing, and they're also using, I believe, like CapCut. What is the Adobe one, the product?
Premiere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are two.
Awesome. Awesome. Robin wants, first off, is like, wow, great editing. What's the average production time for one of your videos, right? So maybe talk us through like a
Mm.
process of like, you have an idea, right? You're thinking technical term or semi-technical term, honeypots, right? From spark in the mind to like post it. How long does that take?
So I think it depends on the video. If I'm talking about news, usually that's a really short turnaround time. I think I remember when they took down Fable 5. I was overseas in Europe and I probably had that video up within 20 minutes of them posting it. And I was just kind of
Yo,
like ad hoc, just talking in front of the camera. Like those are very spontaneous videos, usually more news related. But then if I'm talking about a technical concept, I would say maybe takes me about 30 to an hour to script. I try to be really accurate and factual in my videos. I think cyber is just one of those things where I don't want to misrepresent anything. So a lot of the time goes into scripting, and just making sure I'm explaining things correctly. And I think it's because also I don't know everything about cyber, so obviously I have to do my research. Like, even as an engineer, there are like some topics I know well, some topics I don't know well. In terms of filming, not more than 30 minutes, I would say, now, as long as there's good lighting. Sometimes there's
I
no good lighting.
didn't
And
have
trust
good
me, there
lighting
are
today,
days
everyone.
I know. Trust me, there are days when I literally cannot film. Like, I just try to repeat words. I'm like, I have no idea what I am saying today. And so you kind of just have to like let it go and film another day. In terms of editing, it used to take me 6 hours to edit one 60-second video. I would think this is when I first started, maybe the first 2 months. And now I would say it doesn't take me more than like 30 minutes to an hour to edit a video. If my team is editing them, they'll have like turnaround within like a day or two.
That's incredible. That's quite the like learning curve that you conquered. And I also want to give kudos to being able to do rapid response. So for us marketers, rapid response is a PR term where there's news and you want to reply quickly so that you can get in the news with the news or react to it or have editorial or a quote. So basically you're doing rapid response video responses. How do you, and those you have to do fast, right? You said 20 minutes, you kind of did off the cuff, off the top of the head. um, Thoughts on the Fable 5 takedown. How do you how did you get to a point where you felt comfortable doing that is my question. Because I bet a lot of the marketers here to on this call today would love to do that, but they have like processes and they have like people that need to approve and they themselves potentially don't even feel comfortable like putting something out so fast.
It's a lot of trial and error. I think
Mhm.
I'm this way 11 months later, but that's definitely not how it was before. So I
Mhm.
would say it's really a process. There's no, I give you a formula and a recipe, right? You'll be able to do it tomorrow. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you're just like naturally gifted, right? But I think like it's really a learning process of what works for you, what you're comfortable with. And then, like you said, if you're talking about things like that need to go through approval for marketing, I think fortunately I don't work for a company right now, right? So it's different. And
Yeah,
even when I did, I was very careful to never say anything about what I was doing at work. That was like my boundary. But the circumstances differ for everyone. And someone actually once told me this, right? If your content is bad, no one will ever see it. So it's fine. And if it's good, then it's good, right? So it's out there, and like I have posts that flop, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's not like everybody in the world is seeing this, so it's fine.
That's a really good point. I think the ephemeral, I don't know. The not forever nature of a social media feed kind of is freeing, where, if you do something and you're like, I'm gonna take a risk, or I don't know if this will work, and you just try it, as long as it's, like not incredibly offensive, like it'll be
Yeah.
fine, right? Like so what, the video wasn't that great, or you choked on your words a little, or it wasn't perfect, or the editing was off like a tad, that'll be gone. You have to do another one soon after.
Yeah, and the reality, even for posting anywhere online, right? As marketers on LinkedIn, for me on Instagram, no one is really seeing your post after a week or two, to be honest, right? And I would say, even though I do have, over 80K followers, the majority of people, I would say, don't see your feed, don't see your post every time they go on a feed, right? So even if I post it every day, some people might only really come across 2 or 3 of the videos I post a week. And same thing on LinkedIn. Like, I would not be scrolling through someone's feed to see what they posted a month ago. So that kind of gives me, I don't know, it's some comfort, but then also it's like, oh, if someone did want to search something up, maybe it organically pops up in a Google search or something.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's saying that LLMs are taking sourcing from LinkedIn right now. So there's a chance something does pop up when someone's searching. So there's more questions coming in. There's like a lot of questions coming in. Um, uh, but before I jump to your questions, Jamie and Harmon and Jen, I do want to ask you about like performance. How like in terms of posting and post, how do you know when a post is like performing well? Do you have like your own internal KPIs? Do you have a standard you set on yourself as a creator? Like, I know that this is like an exceedingly great post because it had a million hearts on it or something, right? Like, how do you determine performance?
I think it really depends on the type of posts that I'm making. There are times I make more posts that are a little more personal, and I think also very technical. And I can't expect that my audience for that post is going to reach the masses, right? Whereas if I am posting something that is a little more general, then to myself, I kind of expect that to be a little more, like, have a little more views or impressions. On Instagram, I would say what really matters, especially even when I'm working with brands, is engagement rate. And engagement rate is what your comments, your shares, and your saves. Um, and then also now Instagram has additional metrics for videos like skip rate. Like, how long do people stay on your videos? Like, those are all metrics that you can see and benchmark against your previous videos as well. On LinkedIn, I would say it's probably more impressions based. Am I going for growth or am I going for engagement? Growth is like what posts help me get the most followers, versus engagement is like, impressions and comments. I actually do have a system. I have a whole tracker that I have AI updating itself every day. But like, yeah, once a day,
Okay.
pretty much go in and look at, my follower count, and then it'll take the metrics from the post I made the day before and kind of say like, okay, on LinkedIn, I would kind of say the life of a post is about 24 hours. So there really isn't a need for me to track it after that. And so I track all the metrics I just mentioned and whatever they have. For Instagram, I wait about a week. So I wait about a week to see like what the views and impressions and everything are, because on Instagram, sometimes your videos can suddenly go viral like 2, 3 days in. It's usually not the first day. It's usually like the second or third day that your video goes viral. So yeah, that's really helped me. I saw this question come in, right, about the reverse engineering my videos. So yeah, so this has really helped me then target like what type of hooks work best if I'm targeting growth versus engagement, especially if I'm working with a brand. I think growth is a little more important, right, in terms of like, impressions and views. Whereas like for myself, then maybe I just really want some engagement and how are people interacting. Yeah, but I definitely do then use that to create my future posts.
That's cool. What AI did you use to build this awesome system?
I use I think it's ChatGPT, but they're scheduled tasks. So I just have the skill in there and I'm like, hey, go in and look at my
Is
Instagram and look at
it
my LinkedIn.
Codex?
Codex is the coding one. I'm not sure if the scheduled task runs on Codex or now ChatGPT work. They're like new product, but I pretty much just have a bunch of scheduled tasks.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So everyone is gonna like take that idea and be like, oh, I don't want to manually report on my metrics to my boss. I will have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, pull that. So yeah, so you hit on Cindy's question about reverse engineering videos to determining characteristics or components that make the best videos. Can you tell us what some of those are that you've like kind of uncovered?
So I would say on LinkedIn, surprisingly, my personal posts do a lot better than when I post about security stuff, which I thought was really interesting. I was like, the majority of people I'm connected with on LinkedIn are honestly like security professionals. I would expect them to be more like in tune or aligned with my more technical posts. But I think people just like seeing things that they can relate to. The whole storytelling thing that we see in marketing these days, right? Even as creators, that's really important. It's like if people can feel that you're speaking about something genuine and maybe if you're really excited, I think your audience feels it too. And I would say those are the types of hooks usually that do well.
Yeah, like genuine emotion, like like when you build a brand or anything in marketing, like can you elicit like a feeling, right? Like of something that's relatable that people can like feel it, right? Um and yeah, also LinkedIn is becoming Facebook. I'm kind of okay with it. So yeah, Cindy is agreeing with you in the chat, Cindy from Filigrane. She's seen that for her posts, more personal posts and less thought leadership has worked best. So yeah, and I see that too. I'll do like more face pictures, like selfies or pictures of me with other folks, members of the society at events and stuff. People like people and they like real reality, authentic stuff. So,
It
um,
adds the human element.
mhm.
Yeah.
Jeanette wants to know, do you think that cyber marketing teams are missing out on an audience on Instagram? Oh, that's such a good question. I think a lot of us focus on creating content on LinkedIn for obvious reasons. But from a security brand perspective, I feel like it's rare for a security startup or company to build an audience there. Community accounts for brands are a different story. I think, though, on Instagram. Okay, Jeanette, sorry, I'm going to jump in first and say, you know that Torque is doing like a big Instagram push? Also, I've been seeing that, like Trevor from Torque, being like, join us on Instagram, join us on Instagram. And Jeanette, also, I want to say retargeting, and you probably know this, but like retargeting on Meta is like cheaper than LinkedIn too. So there's like another reason. Sorry, Jazz, you can answer too.
Yeah, I would actually say it's the opposite. I see a lot of cybersecurity startups now making a presence on Instagram and and I can also say this also with like some of the brands that have reached out to me. Most of them are actually targeting Instagram as opposed to LinkedIn, Instagram and or YouTube because YouTube, right, has your search, the SEO that you want as well. So and the reason why I say this is if you think about it, the folks who are now starting cybersecurity companies and startups are very young, right? And so they are chronically online
Mhm.
on Instagram, on YouTube, probably. I'm actually like more so I would say on Instagram. So a lot of folks, even who come in through my DMs, are like, some cyber companies who are like, hey, we're trying to build our presence on Instagram. Like, how can we work together? And I say because if you're targeting CISOs, your audience is probably on LinkedIn, and quite frankly, I think it's kind of like known in the security industry. A lot of these folks aren't even on LinkedIn; they're probably in their Slack channels, right? Like conversing with each other. So it's really a word of mouth type of thing. Whereas, like, if you really are trying to target the younger folks who are going into marketing, who are making decisions, right, with their
Mhm.
managers. And when I was an engineer at my previous company, I was bringing in a lot of the companies that we wanted to POC and test. And how would I find out about these companies? It was through social media.
That's
And
awesome.
even if you see big name companies like Microsoft, right? They're all starting to transition and try to make a name for themselves on Instagram as well.
I love it. What about TikTok?
Oh, I am personally not. I do repost to TikTok, but I am like not much on TikTok. I would say syndication to TikTok is much less frequent than syndication over to YouTube and LinkedIn from Instagram.
Got it. Makes sense. I wonder what's going to happen after TikTok, by the way. I feel like that was the latest, largest big platform. And then, whatever comes next will be, maybe it'll be like, inserts into the brain feed stuff. I don't know. We live in the future and it's exciting. Yeah, so Jeanette is agreeing with you on the retargeting and loves that this is happening. I've been waiting for the moment to happen in cyber. We all need some less serious, more human content that we're more used to on Instagram. Awesome. Mohan pointed out that Vanta is also really big on Insta. And we do have a question
Yes.
in the Q&A box that I want to get to before we move over to some campaigns that you've done, Jazz, with some security companies and some AI and companies. That'll be really cool. But there's a question in the chat. So if I don't want to show, this is actually super relevant. If I don't want to show my face, right? If I want to be like private, right? This is from a security professional. I don't want to show my face in videos. Maybe I'll use some sort of AI tool. There's we talked on some previous AMAs with creators. Hey Gen is a tool that some folks are like playing with. Do you think the turnout will be the same or the results will be the same for me if I use these sort of like AI generated tools?
So obviously, I can't accurately say, right, since I don't make faceless content. But I will say, I think it depends on the type of content you're creating. I see on Instagram, a lot of folks only do carousels, and their carousels do not have their faces on them, yet they're driving a lot of value because it's very educational content. And I also find myself scrolling through carousels more because it's just easier to digest words than sometimes sitting through, like a 60 to 90-second video. And so I think it really depends. If you're trying to share your story and personal life things, I think having your face in it would probably help your audience connect with you a lot better.
Love it. We have one
Yeah.
more question that we'll cover before we talk about campaigns. Cindy just wants to know a little bit more about your audience. I know you have like the Instagram and the YouTube and the LinkedIn. Do you have more practitioners or C-level, different industries, right? So this is what marketers think about too. They think like demos, like company size, 500 to 1,000 or 1,000 plus. This is how we are always thinking when we're planning campaigns and stuff. So she just wants to know about your audience, like, do you have any demographics? Do you have persona info? Are they in the US? Are they global? And yeah, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, so in my audience on Instagram, surprisingly, the majority of my audience is in the US. I would say they are more practitioners and also, like I said, founders and builders, those who are really trying to understand, like, how do I not get hacked when I'm using AI? There are definitely different industries, I think, because I talk about cyber, and cyber honestly relates to a lot of different industries that really helps. In terms of LinkedIn, though, I would say it's a lot more higher level execs and C level. I do a lot of founder interviews as well that I post to LinkedIn. And I think because of that, pretty much whatever I post about and whoever I talk to, I kind of like generate that audience that way, right? Like when I was in Cannes recently, and was posting about that. I got introduced to a lot of folks who live in the EU. So I would say like some of my audience now is also in the EU. And so I think organically grew for whoever like was interested in the topics, but targeted in a sense that like I do work with folks in industries or specific industries that I want to be more known for.
Yeah, you're trying to go after security professionals and practitioners because you make content about it and then you want to work with the cyber brands. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg virtuous cycle, it sounds like to me. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Let's talk about we'll get to James and Tom. We'll get to you soon. I just want to make sure that we get a chance to talk about some of the really cool campaigns that Jazz is working on or has recently worked on. So in our pre-call, we talked a little bit about Clover Security. So we know Clover, they're a super hot startup. And at RSA last year, instead of having a booth and instead of doing some traditional marketing, they did like a matcha store. They did like a tea shop. So tell us about that campaign and how you were involved, because I think it was like really unique, out of the box, cool, and also in real life as well. It like took you out of the digital and into the real the physical.
Yeah, so RSAC obviously is an SF. I am based in the Bay Area, SF Bay Area, and they reached out to me basically wanting me to cover what they were doing, which was a security, like TA pop up with matcha. Also, I'm a huge matcha fan. If you look at my newsletter, if you look at anything that I post, there's always something matcha related. So it's very pretty much aligned with my brand, like security and matcha. For me, that one had two deliverables. One was a pre event LinkedIn post, really just sharing the event. And then stories while I was at the pop up that they did, and then a reel covering like how they pop up basically. And if you notice that this one, there was nothing related to what Clover actually does. And I think it's because they were really approaching this from the sense that no one's going to purchase your product, quite frankly, from watching one video, right? The purpose is to build the brand and to build awareness of your brand. So in this way, they were taking like a really fun way to build awareness of their brand, since I think they're a relatively newer company, but then building then on top of that brand, right? And that presence so that people know their name and we're like, okay, what is Clover? Who's Clover? What is matcha and security, right? Like, how does that make sense? Then probably you search them up and now they're in the back of your head, right? And I'm sure like a lot of you are marketers, so you're more aware of this than I am. But that was definitely a very unique approach that I've seen from a brand that didn't actually ask me to talk specifically about their product or their features that they have.
Right. So you weren't like, and Clover Security does X, right? You were just
Yeah.
like, here's, I'm gonna screen share just for a second. Yeah, so I looked up security, Clover Security, just so I could like pull something up to share with the audience so you could kind of get an idea of what it looked like. And notice how when I search it, like it's all Instagram, like on the
Mhm.
images, right? So it's just it's very interesting, like a very cool campaign and like a very unique thing. And it made a lot of buzz at RSAC 2026. And I think they're gonna do it at Black Hat, maybe.
I think they're doing an ice cream thing. I saw Elon, the co-founder, post they're gonna have matcha ice cream at their booth. So if you're a Black Hat, swing
Yo,
by.
I have a pass. I'm be like, okay, like straight to that booth.
Same.
Yeah, Jeanette and Cassie are pro matcha and pro matcha ice cream. Okay, Tom wants to know, and we'll talk about Black Hat in a second, but we'll take a little break just to answer more questions. Tom wants to know, where do you get your inspiration from, right? So you said, you have different topics you cover. Sometimes it's like, oh, I should explain what a honeypot is, or what is a pen testing, right? But like, where do the original ideas come from? Do you like open like a dictionary and point at a word? Like, do you have a process? Do you look at what's trending? Like, how do you come up with ideas?
So it's actually a few ways. In terms of organic content, I always think about it from a perspective of an engineer, just because I am an engineer, but it was kind of like, if I read this news and I'm digesting something online, what is it that a builder would need to know that you can't get from the news? Because news, a lot of the time, they're just reporting, right? I really focus on what is the main takeaway, right? Like if someone is, getting hacked or like phishing emails through LastPass and Bitwarden, right, last week, it's like, okay, your key is really not to click on links that you're not aware of, making sure you check your send, like who the email is coming from, and don't put your credentials or master password, give your credentials or master password to anyone, right? So I really try to translate those. So that's kind of where the inspiration comes in from the news side. And then also, I think having been in the industry for a while, there's just been a lot of terms and things that I've come across that I'm like, what is this? Right? Like nowadays, the new term is like, what is it? Agentic threat actor, right? A fully autonomous threat actor. I'm like, well, I just learned about this last week. I'm pretty sure
The
a lot of
Hugging
people
Face
don't know
thing?
about this either. So,
Yeah.
what can I talk about with it? Also, I just try to share a lot from my experiences as well, like in product security. What is um, SAST and DAST, right? Or those different topics. And then my audience also will message me and say, can you talk about this? Can you give me a roadmap to get into cybersecurity? Can you talk about cloud security, AI security, pen testing, a bunch of different topics? And so kind of like keep those in my head. I would say I'm not the most organized when it comes to, these are all the things I want to talk about. I'm very like, oh, I have an idea. Let me see if I can write something about it, and then I'll do it. Yeah.
Do you have like a ton of notebooks with like an idea written down and then you're like go back, you're like, oh yeah, I meant to do that.
I have a physical notebook. I'm more of like a like physical notes taker. I have like so many notes on my like Apple Notes open. My Notion also has a bunch of notes, like just like probably hundreds of ideas that I've never even gotten to yet.
That's amazing. And that sounds I have a bunch of notebooks from conferences that are just littered, not here because I'm in a phone booth in a WeWork, but like on my desk. If anyone ever wants to visit my office and help me clean up my notebooks, I'll totally take you up on it. Katie wants to know, Katie from Artemis wants to know, do you do any webinar speaking appearances for brands?
Yes, I've done a few webinars like here and there, but yeah, it depends on what the brand wants. Like I was doing one in like a few weeks where I'm really talking about more AI security, so really more practitioner heavy things. I'm also starting a community out here in SF, trying to teach people how to vibe code more securely. So I do that. I also do speaking engagements about like creator things, like how Gianna and I are talking about right now. It really depends on the topic. I think I sit in this good like in between of being a practitioner and an engineer, but also a creator. So I can really speak to both depending on what brands are looking for.
That's awesome. You can talk to all types of audiences, which is very flexible. It's good for you as a creator because you're not pigeonholed
Yeah.
into anything. And you can like spread your wings and fly in any direction. Cassidy wants to know what's being slept on. Oh, I don't even Cassidy, you mean like what is like an underlooked security thing or like an underlooked creator thing or like yes, an underlooked okay, technical Jasmine, put your hat on. What's
Ooh.
being underlooked in security right now? Like category or like technology or like threat, whatever top of your head.
So I think it's the assumption that AI is going to automate your security for you, right? And this is kind of an assumption that I'm taking from a lot of builders. It's like, oh, I have AI. Prompt injection is not a thing anymore. Like, that would never happen. I just posted a newsletter today, and like 7 of the links that I have in there are all about prompt injection of AI models. A thing that's very interesting is actually securing AI infrastructure. So now there are agentic threat actors that are literally going after the infrastructure that you're using to build your models. So if you're fine tuning and training your own models and an attacker comes after that and you don't have backups, your model is not going to exist. And even if you did have backups, it's not instant backups, right? So um, it's going to take you like hundreds and thousands of dollars to even recover that gap in your backup. Something
Wow,
that's
that's
pretty interesting.
that's extremely interesting. That was a good one. Good question, Cassidy, by the way. I want to go a little bit up on this. So we asked about webinar speaking. Sorry, I'm trying to find another question. Oh, Jessica wanted me to plug, I think, Midnight in the War Room. I don't know if you're going to that, Jasmine. Midnight in the War Room, the documentary premiere. It'll be a Black Hat, folks. I'm going. I'm going to be on the red
Oh,
carpet. So, Jessica, do you want to drop the link in the chat so folks can see? It was like the one of the first like I don't know if it's a motion picture, but like a documentary about cyber that everyone I know who's seen it says it's like really good, actually. Like actually good. All right. Awesome, Jazz. I'll plug for
thank
you.
you.
Let's see. Okay, here's a question. So we have a question about competition, but they're also way up earlier was a question about who do you look up to. So how do you view other cybersecurity creators? Do you compete technically? Are you guys collabing? Like, and then of other creators out there, cybersecurity or not, who do you look up to? Who do you watch? Who are you like, that's my favorite creator?
So I would say that there is no competition for us. And even with the tech creators that we have, like I would say there are a lot of AI general tech creators. We don't consider each other as competition. If you think about it, there are so many brands out there, right? And it's impossible for a creator to partner with every single brand, whether or not it's because of exclusivity or, just the type of things you're talking about. And I would say even in the cyber creator space, we have so many different types of creators because cyber is such a big industry, right? We have GRC, we have AppSec, ProdSec, we have like analysts, right? And then privacy, which I know like Caitlin talks about a lot, right? And Caitlin is definitely one of the folks I really look up to because a lot of her content is targeting the masses and it's like important information to everybody. Quite frankly, I'm like, I don't even know how every single day you're coming up with, another topic to share with everybody. I think that's really amazing. Sandra, who Gianna mentioned before, like I did a podcast with her before, right? And we always try to collab with each other actually. Like, if you have a course, like how can we promote your course? And like, after having taken it and making sure there's also I don't know if you guys know Ashish and Shilpi also who live in the
Yeah.
UK, like, right? A lot of newsletter, podcast type creators, like we all love hanging out at events and really just talking shop. There's a slice of pie for everyone.
That's awesome. Marketers like talking shop too. So if you ever want to talk to other people about newsletters and cyber, every marketer has a newsletter. So on that topic, Jazz, tell us about your newsletter because I didn't touch on that earlier. So tell us how many people signed up, what sort of like cadence do you do? It's part of this like I don't know, it's like new age or new. I can't remember like dates anymore, but I feel like it's like this new age of creatorism where you're building like a media brand more than just being like a single person. You're building a media brand, and you're building an ecosystem of content around yourself as a creator. So, newsletter, tell us about it.
Yeah, I would say the fact of being a creator, right? And any other, like if you're marketing and in media is like, what is your IP, right? Who are the folks that you have if, let's say, I lost my Instagram tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
Like, or I got locked out. It's those people whose like emails I have and I can connect to my audience outside of just my platforms. And so that's kind of really why I started a newsletter. I would say I first started it on Substack. My newsletters are pretty technical in the sense that I really go into news and kind of do takeaways from that. I also then do like a Instagram portion that's more carousel like that would lead you to maybe go into my newsletter. That one I maybe had about like 500, 600 subscribers maybe, but then I took a break for like 2 months and then I transitioned it over to my new format, which I actually just launched last week. I did them
Oh,
weekly and I still do them weekly. But now I talk about news, I talk about things I'm actually building in the space, random thoughts that I have when working with AI and just like really random like why is rent in SF right now 2K more than it is last year, Just things that I'm thinking about and noticing as I'm doing my day to day. Like if I am trying ChatGPT work versus Claude co-work, if I'm building my website with these AI tools, what am I noticing from a cybersecurity perspective? So try to really gear my newsletter more towards like so you kind of understand like what am I doing? I'm not just, a person who's posting news links online.
right. You're in the weeds. You have your hands on. Like you're trying to build your own stuff, and you're saying like, "Hey, here's some things that I even like think about when I'm doing it for me." And I posted in the chat, everyone, a link to
Yeah.
Jazz's website. It's jasminewong.com, and her newsletter is linked there, so we can all subscribe. We have another question. Let's see. What creators are missing? Wait, hold on. Sorry. What are creators missing in their security content? Is there any? Now, that's interesting, right? Because we were saying it's so big, right? GRC and privacy and DLP, and they're like we could. There's so many acronyms, honestly. So what is underrepresented in terms of people talking about in cyber? Did you notice anything in particular?
Ooh, that's a good question. I wish actually more people would talk about the AI aspect of it because I think I am definitely one of the very few cybersecurity specific creators that talks about the gaps in the process of cyber. I actually do notice that there are some developer or more privacy focused creators that do talk about some of these AI gaps. It's like, 5 things you shouldn't do. when vibe coding, things like that. Yeah. And then also, I think just translating topics more so for the masses. I've gotten comments before that people are like, oh, well, she's too high level. Like, they're not even cybersecurity practitioners, right? And I think just like the general lack of understanding that just because you're in cybersecurity doesn't mean you're an engineer, right? There are what product managers, there are lawyers, there are so many different folks in the cyber industry. Yeah, and I wish like more people would talk about their different types of roles.
That's awesome. Let's that's a plug for us too, marketers. We're part of the industry. We matter. We're important. We power the industry, the security tools and services and products that help the defenders defend are powered by marketing and sales. They got to get out there. Otherwise, no one will ever
Yeah.
hear about them, and it'll be like, oops, too bad. I would have fixed it, but it didn't, and that's kind of sad. So all of us marketers in cyber are very mission driven, I know, as well, and we're part of that ecosystem, and that's what the Cybersecurity Marketing Society is here to do: make a seat for us at the table. You talked about starting a community, which is super interesting. So our community is 5,000 members, more than 1,600 companies, but it started virtually. It sounds like you're maybe starting one in person in SF. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I really want to focus on IRL. In SF, there are really two buckets of people. I would say there are us security practitioners who have our security meetups, but we're all very technical, right? And
Yeah.
then security technical, at least for the ones that I've been to. And then there's also folks that are teaching more general how do you use AI, how do you build AI workflows, Claude 101, but no one is talking about, like I said, that security gap. So I'm really trying to focus specifically on building community for all these founders and creators and builders in this space. Like, what should you really be thinking about? What data should you be more aware of that you're giving to AI and just the risks in general? And also some workshops, like hands-on workshops for like coding and like what you need to know when vibe coding. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Us as like a lot of us, again, there's security folks on here too, but like marketers are very interested in learning about coding, like vibe coding, because it's amazing. Like 7 years ago, you used to be like, if I want to change the website, I have to like talk to the web dev team. And if I don't have one, I have to talk to the dev team and they're running the website too. And like obviously they're trying to build the product, and then it would take like 7 weeks to get something that you wanted done on the site, like sometimes, like truly, like, hey, can we build an ROI calculator? It's like you have to buy a software for that or like really like develop it. And now you could do it with like Lovable or Vercel and have it on
Mm-hmm.
your site, right? So I think there's this huge, I think your timing is like amazing with the education that you have and what you can give in terms of value to people, because there's just so everyone is using these tools, like marketers, founders, builders, like you said. Everyone is trying something. I was at a dinner last night and there's like a creative director who taught, like an artist who taught himself vibe coding so he could make cool things. Like everything, yeah, everything's happening. Let's see. I want to make sure if anyone else has questions, make sure to post them because we're coming close on time here. Oh, actually, what we could talk about too, Jazz. So you're going to be at Black Hat. Tell us a little bit more about some fun and interesting cyber or AI campaigns you have upcoming or that you just completed that you think are really cool.
Yeah. So, for some context, this is my third year going to Black Hat. For the past 2 years, I did the actually entire Hacker Summer Camp thing. So, B-Sides, DEF CON, Black Hat, but it was sponsored by my company when I went. So, this is the first year I am being sponsored by like a few brands to go, but without sharing details of like which
Yeah.
brands I'm working with yet, just because of that. But a lot of it is going to highlight like on the floor, what are folks doing if they do have a booth at Black Hat, or maybe if they have some outside activities, right? Activations that they're doing. And then also interviews with folks in those companies, really, how you're approaching security. A lot of people these days like want to know, what is the mission behind a company? Why are you doing this? Like what really sets you apart? There's so many companies that do similar things, right? Like when I was in AppSec, how many SaaS companies were there, right? That did like application security. And nowadays, like we see every company is really called like an AI security, agentic security company. But what does that really mean? So really giving a glimpse into how you approach security, how the founders are thinking about it. So it's a really mixed bag. And then I'm obviously also going to some dinners and events and all of that just to have fun and hang out with my friends. Like there will be a lot of other creators there as well. So definitely a lot of campaigns around that. And even beyond Black Hat, I would say a lot of companies, right? Not even like necessarily security companies, but more big tech companies that are in the security space, are launching similar things. And I'm also helping them with promoting features. And I will say, as like a security person, right? I'm actually pretty careful. I saw this question kind of come across, right? Careful about the brands that I work with. If a brand comes to me and wants me to say something that I wouldn't align with or do personally as a security person, I'll be like, sorry, but this is not the angle I'm going to take, even if you're a really big brand, right? So it's really like being honest with myself and also like promoting things that I actually care about and agree with.
I love it. Yeah, you have to stay true to yourself because once the brands are gone, there's only the you left. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're gonna be you forever. So it's gotta like
exactly.
feel right. Mohan had a question he put in twice, so I feel like it deserves an answer. What part of creating cyber content feels the most meaningful to you on that topic of, being true to oneself?
So I think to go into cybersecurity, like my mission of why I even started 6, 7 years ago was because I'm super passionate about helping people stay safe and making an impact. And that's like the same exact reason why I even started content a year ago. It's like I want to bring impact to the folks who um, aren't too well versed in cybersecurity. At least that's how I got started on Instagram, right? And nowadays it's like also sharing my experience with other cybersecurity practitioners on LinkedIn because there are not that many of us. Cybersecurity is honestly a very small industry, and like why do we even do all of this, do research, post online, right? It's not necessarily the function in a company that generates the most ROI, right? So I think we all do it because we're super passionate about helping folks.
I love it. It's the same reason why, again, marketers in this industry are mission aligned and passionate. It's a really difficult industry to market in, so you gotta like it, and so you gotta like feel it in some way in order to stick around. Otherwise, you go market olive oil. You could go sell olive oil; it'd be a lot easier. I put Jasmine's link again, her website in in not the show notes, in the chat here. Jazz, how can people contact you if they want to talk about partnerships, brand partnerships in particular?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I also have my email in the website, or I can put it here. Yeah,
Thank you for laughing, Cassidy. Awesome.
that's the easiest way.
Awesome. It is hello@cyberjazzbites.co. And also, you could also probably submit on a form on a website. We all know how the internet works now. So submit a form.
No,
Send an
no, no,
email.
I don't do any form submission.
Wait,
But if you
really?
do
Oh.
email me and it doesn't go into spam, I will definitely see it.
That's why we do forms, because like too much stuff goes into spam. I'm like, all right, at
Yeah.
least it's collected in a bucket in HubSpot here. Awesome. Last, let's do any last words you want to say, and maybe we'll pick one last speed question.
Oh, um, I would say definitely don't sleep on whether or not you work with creators or not. Don't sleep on like marketing on different platforms and targeting not only like C-suites, because I would say the decision makers nowadays, right, are more and more becoming the folks who are POCing the products and right can actually introduce the products to their managers. So definitely target like a wide range of folks and don't be too focused on like the technical aspects of things because people will if they're interested in your features, right, they'll know what you do. I think it's really about marketing the presence around your brand.
I love it. Think about the buying committee, the analyst and the manager and the senior manager and the director and the product manager who are all saying, "Hey boss, hey boss CISO, why don't you go up the chain? I really think we need this." Or if it comes down, hey, we need this. Okay, you guys research a tool and figure out what it should be, right? So
Yeah.
think about more than just the top of the pyramid of the security team. And also CISOs are very overwhelmed. So they're a little grumpier than potentially other folks. This has been so fun. Thank you so much, Jazz, for being on. We can't wait to see you at Black Hat, and I can't wait to keep watching your videos and learning more about cybersecurity from you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a good chat. This was super fun.
This was great. Folks, this has been another amazing webinar by the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. Sorry, I called it amazing. It's my webinar that we put on. It's been a webinar. It's been amazing because Jazz was on. And yes, we do a ton of education at the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. I'm going to drop our link in the chat. If you want to attend our next Cyber Creator Series or any of our other webinars events, we're going to have one on AI for marketing really soon by Mate Benedek. And we have, of course, our creator series. We have an SEO GEO one next week, an open office hours. So come on down. I don't know why I became Southern, but come on down to the Cybersecurity Marketing Society's webinar program. Folks, have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys in 2 weeks at Black Hat. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.